Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18. I think it's 18. It's either 18 or 19, but I think it's 18. Welcome back to episode 18 of the Pop Punk Podcast with me, T Will Official, and my GS co host, Mr. Daddy Mush. Say what's up, Mr. Daddy Mush.
Once again, thank you for that rousing introduction. Really appreciate it. So how are you?
And I'm going alright. Today well, first of all, how are you? I don't want to be rude. How are you?
I'm solid, no real complaints. My sleep schedule has been all wonky on my days off. Doesn't really make sense. I go to bed at 9 p.m. I wake up at 3 a.m. Then I'm up till 8 a.m. It's just a whole mess.
And my sleep schedule's a mess too. Like normally I wake up at like 7:15, 7:30, like regardless of if I gotta work or if I have off. Today I had to wake up. I had to be up by 8 for I had to drop Princess off at the vet. And I wake up at like 7:30 and I'm like tired. My eyelids are real heavy and I fall back asleep and I don't wake up until 7:50. So sometimes your sleep schedule is, for lack of a better term, bitch made.
But anyway. Yeah, especially yesterday. I passed out at 9. I was about to text you, you want to finish Halo, and next thing you know, I'm asleep and it's 3 a.m.
Exactly. That's sleep schedules, dude. Like they don't even make any sense.
And I was up till 7 a.m. after that 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. shtick, and I went back to bed for about 3-4 hours, and But enough about that though. How are you though?
Well, as I said, I'm good. Today we have a kind of different kind of episode. We're gonna be talking about movies, our favorite movies we saw recently. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast a couple episodes back, but we're gonna do that was more of like a general purpose, like everything kind of podcast. The movies just happen to be one of the things we talked about. Today we're going to go a little more in-depth into movies. But before we do that, if you watch the podcast, you already know what we do. What have you been listening to this week, Mr. Daddy Mush?
Well, the 3 CDs I've been listening on constant rotation in my car, on my way to work and just driving about is Senses Fail's Let It Unfold You album. Okay. Atari's So Long Astoria.
Very good album.
And Keepsake's The End of Sound. And on my Spotify, it's been more of the same. It's just like Chunk No Captain Chunk, Better Luck Next Time, Homegrown, and Mr. Mario Judah.
Oh, very nice. Who the fuck is Mario Judah? I love that.
Yeah,
or I think it's like, where the fuck is he?
That song. that song video is something else.
Oh, I freaking love that video.
Sick, because that's my number 1 played this week.
Very nice. That's amazing.
I was gonna omit that, but if it's the number 1 song, I can't. You have to bring it up. But how about yourself, though?
You can't hide who you really are.
I know, that's the problem with Spotify. You can't just shove it in my subconscious for a couple hours. Nope, it's out there in the flesh. It's open. The world can see. How about yourself, though?
So I've been listening to actually a lot of Zebrahead this week, in particular MFZB, as you know, because I remember I was texting you about
it. Yes.
In particular, Over the Edge. I enjoy that song a lot. I've also been listening to, not so much as an artist, but the song So What by, I believe it's pronounced Jaden, but it's spelled like JXDN. He's like one of the new school, like, I think he's like a TikTok star mainly, but he has music and it's pretty pop punk and it's pretty banging.
Really?
The song's called So What. I don't want to go more in depth because I think this is actually a good topic for like its own episode, but after like listening to that song a little bit and like MGK and everything, I think we're actually in like a new like era or wave or whatever of pop punk. Like, like how we had the like the easycore era and then the soft grunge era, which in my opinion is still only soft grunge. Like it's only considered pop punk just because the bands that did it were putting out pop punk albums in 2010. But I digress. I think we're on a new era of like, I don't know what to call it, Top 40 2.0, maybe like new pop punk, like NU, like new metal. But I think we're in a new era of it. But I won't go in depth.
Yeah.
I think that's a topic for its own episode. As for the song, I've known the song. I've been a fan of the song for a couple months. Like it kind of makes its way into my daily playlists while I work and stuff. But then I remember I watched Punk Rock MBA's video that he just put out today's Saturday. As of when we're recording this, it's Saturday. So I think that video he put it up like 3 days ago. And he was talking about how I think social media and solo artists and stuff are the future. And he mentioned Jaden a lot in his video, so it kind of put it back in my mind. So I've been kind of listening to it a little bit since then.
Nice, man. I gotta check that out.
So as for the top 5, it's pretty accurate, I would say. Carry On by Better Luck Next Time. Over the Edge by Zebrahead. Keep Me Up by 1 Mile Left. You Are by Elemental P. And then Lie to Me by Less Than Jake. And then rounding out the top 7, I don't know why I do this, but we've been doing it every week, so it's just a staple. Rounding out to the top 7, we've Been Through Hell by These Hearts and Answer the Phone by Sugar Ray.
Very nice. I like the little honorable mentions.
Yeah, I don't know why I do those, but I did it one week and then I kept doing it, so now it's just, I guess, a staple of the podcast. You get my top 7 instead of my top 5.
Yeah, why not?
So that's pretty much what I've been listening to this week. I'd say it's pretty accurate. Because even the songs that I don't really put on, like I said, Been Through Hell, I haven't really put that on just to listen to it in a while, but because I make those playlists and Been Through Hell does go in the playlist quite a bit, I'd say it's all pretty accurate.
Okay, fair enough.
And yeah, I guess unless you have anything else to say.
Nah, man, that's all I gotta say about the
Then
I've been listening to.
Yeah, I believe that concludes that segment of the podcast, and that's actually gonna probably not the last we talk about music in this episode, because I'm probably gonna bring it up at some point since we're talking about movies. Music and movies go hand in hand. But yeah, for this episode, we're going to shift gears a little bit more into the realm of movies. Because, I also enjoy movies. Definitely not enough to make a movie-themed podcast like I do with Pop Punk, but I do enjoy movies. I just wanted to do a movie-themed episode today. So, if I recall, which I think I do because it happened yesterday, you saw Tenet.
Yes, I did, in IMAX.
How was that?
How do I explain it? Because it's a Christopher Nolan, so if anybody's not really watching, most Christopher Nolan movies are pretty mind-bending. You gotta watch it one more or two more times to fully get my full opinion on it, but I generally understood the movie. A lot of people were saying how it's confusing, but if you just pay attention and watch the movie, you can understand what's going on. It was good. It wasn't his best work, though, because I'm a big Nolan guy. So compared to Inception, Memento, Prestige, Interstellar, and the Dark Knight trilogy, this is definitely more bottom tier, but it's still a very good movie. And if you like Nolan movies, I would check it out because this has to do with time traveling and everything.
I do like time traveling. It's not a movie, but the game Quantum Break, that shit blew my mind, and that was a time travel story.
Yeah, I do love a good time traveling story, but yeah, Tenet was about time traveling. I don't want to go that much into spoilers just because the movie is still in theaters, so yeah. It's not, I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, I mean, a lot of mind effing. It took me a little halfway through the movie when I finally put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. You know what I mean? It's a good. To me, it's almost like playing a JRPG, just because a lot of those games you're thinking to yourself, what the F is going on, and then it all comes together towards the end of the movie, and then you kind of get hit with that realization of where it's holy crap, that was really good. And that's how I felt with that movie. So, but I would definitely want to see it 1 or 2 more times, but I definitely wanted to see it in the theaters before I left because Nolan movies are made for the big screen just because of they're shot in IMAX and any Nolan movie is just loud as the seat was shaking, and I was like the only person in the theater. Actually, pretty funny on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that's pretty. Well, I mean, I guess it does kind of make sense since I think we're heading towards a second lockdown. I guess it does make sense, but
Well, that's why I wanted to see it before potentially anything else happened. So I want to
yeah,
just,
but
and since
that's
it's an old movie, so I mean it's been out for a few months, so it was only like one time it was playing throughout the day, and it was like 3 p.m.
yeah. I was gonna say because when you told me you were watching Tenet, I was like, I didn't even know it was still out. I was like, wait, shit, that's still out?
Yeah,
Because
so it was
that came out in like July, didn't it?
uh, I think it came out a little bit more recent per se, but let me see when it actually dropped.
Yeah.
September 3rd.
Okay. So all right. So I'm thinking July because it was originally gonna come out in July, but then they pushed it back. I think that's
Yeah,
why I'm thinking July.
and Robert Pattinson's in it, so he's really making a name for
Yeah,
himself in the.
I completely changed my opinion on Robert Pattinson. I used to think he was like whack because I only really knew him from Twilight. But dude, he's actually a really good actor. As I think I said this last movie episode we did, but when I saw Good Time, I was like, yo, holy shit, this dude's actually scary good at playing like the kind of piece of shit like I don't think in the movie it like states he does drugs, but his like actions and like the way he talks and everything makes me think that his character definitely does drugs. And he's just like
Just look at the scene. I mean,
he's
that picture.
yeah, he's just scarily good at playing that kind of character. So that's when I was like, yo, this dude might actually be really fucking good.
I also want to see the lighthouse.
Yeah, that's the one where it's him and it's Willem Dafoe, right?
The
And
black and
it's
white, and
and
apparently
yeah, and
really, really good.
it's shot like it was made in like the 1940s,
Yeah, and
where
like
like
people just say
it's
fantastic.
black and white, but like I don't know how to describe it because like yeah, it's black and white, but like so is Clerks, but Clerks doesn't look like it came out in the 40s. Like if you watch a clip of it online and you didn't know who like Willem Dafoe and like Robert Pattinson are, you would just assume like it came out in that time period because that's just like the way it's shot. I don't really know how to describe it because I'm not like a super big like movie buff, so I don't really know the terms and everything. But yeah, that's if you watch a clip on YouTube, you'll see what I mean.
Well, maybe it's the aspect ratio they shot in or something, because that they did a funny aspect ratio compared to what most films are nowadays.
Probably,
But I
but
mean, once again, I'm not really into the whole technical side of filmmaking.
I mean, yeah. So like, Robert Pattinson is probably he's probably got a little bit of that Adam Sandler syndrome where like he's an incredible actor, but he's made a couple movies that like critics don't like. So he kind of had that like stigma on him, but I think they're both shaking it off with like a couple of the movies they made recently, like Uncut Gems for Adam Sandler, Good Time for Robert Pattinson, and The Lighthouse.
Now
Uh,
Tenet,
yeah, now Tenet,
now he's gonna be
and
Batman.
yeah, now he's gonna be Batman. Which I'm speaking of Christopher Nolan. I will say, like, I think the last movie I saw in IMAX was probably The Dark Knight, and I'm glad I did because, like you said, those movies are just like made for IMAX. Like, there's a lot of like spectacle, I guess, and if you're seeing it in IMAX, you're getting like the full experience. And I'm not even like a super huge like Batman fan. Like, I think he's all right, but like. The Dark Knight is just I would just consider that a good movie. Like
Yeah, all three of those movies are fantastic.
if you just replace Batman and the Joker with just like some generic hero and then some like crazy dude that wears makeup, it would still be an awesome fucking movie. Cuz it's just a good movie.
Yeah, I mean Nolan is just a great director and a great him and his brother are great writers, and they most movies they do, like every movie that I saw by him is like good to fantastic to some of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, and Inception, like I can't go too in depth with Inception cuz I think the last time that I saw Inception was I want to say like senior year when we watched it in our like it was either psychology or human behavior, one of those classes. So I don't really remember too much from it, but I remember that blowing my mind. Like, usually when it's like movie day, it's kind of like a chill day where you just, go on your phone and like talk to your friends and shit. But like, I was sitting there watching the movie because I was like invested. And I think we watched it over the course of like 3 days too, which kind of sucked. But I was like getting ready. Like when it was time for that class, I'm like, all right, yeah, we're about to watch Inception. I'm ready.
Yeah, Inception's great. It's funny because that's not even like one of his weirdest movies. Like I think Interstellar is more mind blowing. Memento's also mind blowing. Memento's great. If you didn't see Memento and you like that psychological thriller, Memento is fantastic. Came out in 2000.
Did he?
Tenet.
Did he do The Prestige?
Yes, he did. That was his movie right after Batman Begins.
Okay, thank you. I was making sure because I felt like it was, but I wasn't 100%. The Prestige is another good movie. That's another movie we watched in class, but then I was like so hooked into it, I was like watching it.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish what you were saying.
I'm just saying, but it's funny because like Inception, people always talk about like how weird that movie is, but I mean, that movie is if you just pay attention to when Joseph Gordon-Levitt is explaining the rules of the dream, it's actually pretty easy to follow. It's just when people go on their phone, they end up losing track of it. But that's a problem with Nolan movies, or the great thing with Nolan movies is like if you pay attention and watch it, you'll get it. If you like go to the bathroom or like half paying attention, you'll end up like missing critical details. Asking yourself for the next hour and a half, I'm like, what am I doing? But his movies usually take maybe like 2 or 3 watches to fully grasp how good they are.
Yeah, they're definitely not movies you can only like half pay attention to. Like I know that's definitely I would say one of the reasons why I like the movies that I do. Like how I mentioned earlier, Adam Sandler. Like I love Adam Sandler, and and Will Ferrell and like funny movies like that. Part of the reason why I like them is you could go on your phone if you're just like chilling and you like just kind of want to go on your phone for a minute. It's not going to take you out of the movie. You might miss like a joke or two, but you're not going to miss the overall plot because it's usually relatively simple and it's usually, really taking a back seat just for like the jokes and the laughs.
And also, the problem with the Nolan movies too, and this is more of a me issue. It's not really their problem because, but well, a lot of his movies, he gets people from all over the globe. So there's a lot of heavy accents going on, and then sometimes when it's just hard to kind of fully hear or understand what they're saying sometimes.
Yeah.
Like in Tenet, the main villain is a Russian guy, so he has this thick Russian accent. So when the sound is blasting, because Nolan movies, especially in theaters, are like it just shakes the theater, and then he's talking. I'm like, what is he saying? And then I have to pee, so I go to the bathroom, so I missed 2 minutes, and I'm out here thinking like, what the f is going on? Robert Pattinson back on because at least he can pull an American accent off really well.
Yeah, I know. Like I feel like every Christopher Nolan movie has that like one scene where it's non-English and they got like the subtitles playing.
Yeah, well, Inception, they had Ken Tatabe. I think he's Japanese, so he has a thick, heavy accent. And then, Nolan's British himself, so there's a lot of, Londonites and British people. And I'm really surprised that Cillian Murphy was not in Tenet, which I'm shocked because Cillian Murphy just seems to be sprinkled in every Nolan movie, just in little scenes or as a main character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like one of Nolan's crew.
Yeah, he was like in Inception. He was in every single Dark Knight movie.
If Christopher Nolan was Adam Sandler, he'd be like Rob Schneider.
Yeah, he was in Dunkirk where he simply played a shell-shocked sailor.
God, I love when the roles are just like shell-shocked sailor, citizen number 3. Yeah.
It's funny with Dunkirk is that like there was like 2 relatively big names in there, but the 2 big names were like the 2 minor characters. Like Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy were both in that movie, but they're both just kind of there. They really weren't the focus. You know what I mean?
I actually kind of like though when I'm mainly talking about serious movies because like again with comedies I don't watch them for like the plot or the characters. I watch them because I want to laugh. But like with more serious like dramatic type movies, I kind of prefer when I don't really know people in the movie because like there's not really that disconnect of like don't get me wrong, Uncut Gems was a hell of a movie, but the whole time I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's Adam Sandler. I didn't get to see the character, I just saw Adam Sandler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like trying to think of I can't really think of an example right now, but like you see a movie where you don't really know anybody, then like you don't see them as an actor, you could just see the character, you know what I mean? I can't think
Yeah,
of
that
any examples. I'm terrible on the spot, and I can't think of
the
any
entire
examples. But
Dunkirk
there's been a
movie,
few movies like that.
the entire Dunkirk movies like that because it's just a whole bunch of like early 20s kids because he wanted to be believable that 'cause, most people in the wars are usually young kids, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of no names there, and they had Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy as like very minor roles. And believe it or not, Harry Styles was in Dunkirk.
Really.
He was one of the main kids, and it's funny because Christopher Nolan said he didn't even know who he even was when he was like doing the auditioning.
That's kind of wild. And he had like a big role in the movie.
Yeah, he was like one of the main four kids that were like trying to escape.
That's actually pretty wild.
Well, Dunkirk is the movie's based on an actual historical event, so there's really not much spoilers going on because the history book it happened 70, 80 years ago. So I
All right.
mean,
Well, for the sake of the audience, he's about to spoil Dunkirk. So if you haven't seen Dunkirk and you want to watch it, I guess skip ahead like 30, 40 seconds.
I mean, they're just really just on a boat, and yeah, I mean, it's really nothing. I mean, it's just Dunkirk. It's in France, and then France is invaded by the Germans, and then they have to, the British people were hiring citizens to help evacuate all the British troops out of France because the Germans took over, and really just Harry Styles, just one of the kids in the movie, just trying to escape. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
It's really not that deep. It's actually his most normal movie, just because it really can't have time travel or black holes or wormholes in a World War II movie. Doesn't make sense.
Or a freak that dresses up like a bat.
Yeah, so it's relatively grounded in reality the entire time, which is definitely his most normal movie, but it's still fantastic if you haven't seen it though.
Yeah, I haven't. I've seen a few. I've seen the Dark Knight movies, except for the last one. I didn't see the last one. Cause I missed it in the movies, and my 17-year-old brain was like, "Yo, if you don't see the movie in the movies, there's like no point to saying it for like any movie that I wanted to say." There's a lot of movies from like that time period that I just never saw, and nowadays I didn't like eventually like a lot of movies I'll eventually see, but that one I still haven't because it's like a 3 hour fucking movie. So yeah, so I haven't seen it quite yet. One day I'll watch it just because I do want to finish it up because I loved Batman Begins and I love The Dark Knight, but I still never saw Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
I've
that was a good
seen
movie.
The Prestige, I've seen Inception, and I believe that's it for Mr. Nolan.
I saw Memento, which is a total mind effort. That's in my opinion, that's actually I think it's his best movie, and I think that's like his first or second movie or his first like big movie. Uh Interstellar was just the biggest mind f ever. Like I was just like speechless after I got out of the theater, and then I think Russ threw up.
You do know you can curse on the show. This isn't like a children's podcast.
My mother watches, and I don't want to. But
Okay.
yeah, and I think Russ threw up afterwards, and that's a different story. But it was just that intense though.
With
But
Russ, I
yeah,
totally believe that it was completely unrelated to the movie.
yeah, it was 6 years ago, and he was just like, "That was insane," and just threw up. I was like, "Okay." Yeah, but that movie was one of the craziest movie experiences I have ever seen. I saw that in theaters, and then Dunkirk. I saw that in theaters too. Most of these, I think Tenet is like the first like Nolan movie that I saw in theaters without Russ, which is funny because we go every time there's a Nolan movie, we go gotta go see it. But since we work both full time and they're completely different hours, it's kind of hard to link up for a movie.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, Tenet was good. I gotta watch it again, like once or twice to fully give you my full opinion on it. But stuff, if you like Nolan, it's definitely worth a watch. And I guess if you want to shift gears, I also saw Total Recall over last week.
Yeah, I did just want to say real quick. I do wish I did get to see that with you, but I mean, I don't blame you. I blame myself because I didn't let you know that I wasn't working yesterday because you thought I
Usually you
was.
work the afternoons, and that was like the only time it was on. So I was like, okay, let me just
So that I blame myself, but I do wish that I could have gotten to see that because I do enjoy, even though I haven't really seen a whole lot of his stuff. I do enjoy Christopher Nolan, and the movie in general just looked pretty fucking cool. So
yeah, but yeah, so yeah, Tenet was cool. I
yeah,
would definitely
and
recommend
yeah, and you also said you saw Total Recall.
it on Netflix over the weekend because I woke up from I couldn't sleep and I just thought to myself, okay, let me go on Netflix and see what Arnie movie's on, and
Yeah,
Total Recall is the only Arnold Schwarzenegger movie there, and that's awesome because I've
yeah.
been wanting to see that one really bad.
Yeah, this man was on a mission. He texted me. He's like, "Yo, what Arnold movies do you have on Vudu?" And I went through my whole list, which was I think it was Predator, Terminator 2, Terminator Genesis, Jingle All the Way, and Last Action Hero. Those are the Arnold movies I have on my Vudu account. But this man, he was like, "Yo, which ones?" And so I gave him the list. He's like, "Is that it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." He's like, "Shit, I'm trying to watch Total Recall."
And then luckily for me, it was the only like actual Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that was on Netflix because rest of them were just like bodybuilding stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
no Hercules in New York, unfortunately.
yes, I want to watch the dubbed version and the original version.
Yeah, for those that don't know, that's I think Arnold's very first movie. There's two versions of the movie that exist. One with Arnold actually talking, and then one's with his lines dubbed over. And I almost want to watch that one just for how ridiculous it is, because like they didn't even get an actor to dub his line. Like it sounds like an infomercial guy.
Yeah, it says uncredited voice actor.
So it was probably just some asshole that was working on the movie. They're like, "Yo, you want to do the voice?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" That was my impersonation of him, but obviously it wasn't very good.
Because I couldn't understand him with his thick Austrian accent because that came out in 1970.
Yeah, and obviously he wasn't the bankable action star that he was in the '80s yet. So I
And
guess
he had
they just figured.
acting.
I guess they just figured let's dub this asshole over.
I like us as starring Arnold Stang and Arnold Strong in parentheses Mr. Universe. They went by Arnold Strong back then.
That's fucking. I love it. So ridiculous.
He was 22.
I know
He was a
that's freaking crazy.
he was a bricklayer.
That's why. And then he goes on to be like the biggest action star of the '80s,
Then
and then the governor.
Yeah, and then he married a Kennedy.
Yeah.
Then he had an affair with his housemaid and had a kid with her. But yeah, but I saw Total Recall, the original from 1990, starring Arnold. Obviously, if you people out there listening were thinking about, I was talking about the remake. No, the original with Arnold, and it was actually really good because it's science fiction dystopian, which I like. Has a outer space theme, like they're on Mars and everything. It's a real mind bender too, with conspiracies and everything. On top of that, it's just Arnold Schwarzenegger doing what Arnold Schwarzenegger does best, and that's just shooting things and blowing things up. And there's midget hookers with shooting machine guns, and it's great.
Jesus Christ.
Like I said, man, it's just it's got cool themes. It has a good story, and on top of that, it's just wrapped in a layer of Arnold doing the best Arnold what he does best, and that's just making things go boom with a gun.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, so if you ever wanna watch it, I'm definitely down to watch it again because it was definitely very good, and like I said, it's a good movie, but it's not like a Nolan film where it's like it's just a good time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I still wanna see The Running Man, and that's really nowhere to be found right now on streaming services I currently have access to, so that's my next kinda one to check off the list, what is The Running Man.
Yeah. Which ones do I want to see? I actually don't really know if I have any in particular that I'm trying to see because like I've seen like all my like I like Predator, Terminator, Last Action. I do want to see actually. Yeah, I think it's called True Lies.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, it's like a
like great action film.
Yeah, it's like I think like an action comedy where he's just supposed to be like suave and cool, but like it's Arnold.
Yeah, like
So
he's the general gist is like he's like an undercover spy, but like his wife thinks he's like a nerd because he's a computer tech guy, and his wife falls in love with a guy who's pretending to be a spy because she likes the danger, but it's ironic because Arnold is the spy.
yeah, so I definitely want to see that.
Me too, because they say that's like Arnold's last true great action movie.
Yeah, this was like I think it was like 94 or 95 or something like that.
94.
Yeah, 94. So there's that. Um yeah, I guess on my end, I haven't really watched a whole lot of new movies lately. I did a couple weeks ago. I did watch Friday the 13th Part 3 because I got the whole collection on Vudu now, and I also watched Jason X, which I know you've seen as well. You actually, I think you saw it with me.
Yes, I did.
And that movie is beautiful. It's a beautiful disaster. But it's actually probably I'm talking about Jason X right now. I'll talk about Part 3 in a minute. Jason X is probably like one of my favorite Jason movies just because of how ridiculous it is. I always call it's the movie equivalent of nu metal. It is not art by any stretch of the word. It's actually incredibly ridiculous. But because it's so ridiculous, I get genuine enjoyment out of it just because of how ridiculous it is. Like when Jason gets into a freaking like 5-minute fight scene against the android, or spoiler alert, like the ending of the movie is this dude dressed up like Master Chief riding Jason into the fucking atmosphere, and then they both burn up and die. Movies, it's something else. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, my fear is when they're escaping and then you see Jason just jump into the escape pod.
Oh my god, yeah, they're like, he's coming this way.
Yeah,
and you just see Jason floating towards them in space. Oh man.
That movie was, I want to say I hated it because it's not good, but like if I didn't say I wasn't entertained and didn't feel joy watching it, I would be lying. So I guess by the end of the day, it did its job.
Yeah,
making me laugh.
And I think at the time, that's why I like it so much, is because I think they knew, all right, Jason in space, there's no way this is going to be a legitimately good movie. So let's just make it as ridiculous as possible, and that way people can like they'll like it because it's so bad and so goofy.
Like when the homeboy started making out with the robot, I just turned around and I said, I hate this movie so much.
Yeah, it's actually probably my third favorite Jason movie. After my top 3 would be the reboot from like 2009, and then Freddy vs. Jason, and then Jason X.
Very nice, very nice.
So yeah, but I watched Part 3 because, like I said, I got all 12 of them now on Vudu, and I think this is actually after Halloween, but that's why I got them, is they were on sale for like a Halloween sale, and I wanted to I wanted to watch one. I don't know, so I ended up watching it, and I mean it's good. It's probably a little bit better than I remember, because I remember not really liking Part 3 too much. But I remember thinking it was pretty cool. I like the like it's the one where he gets his fucking hockey mask. Like, for those that don't know, spoiler alert again. Part 1, he's not even the killer, and then Part 2, he has the fucking bag on his head. So it's actually Part 3 when he gets his hockey mask. And
hockey mask.
Yeah, and that's actually another thing I liked in the reboot. The reboot did like the whole bag thing, but then he got his hockey mask. Like the first like 20 minutes of the movie are like the opening scene, and he kills like this whole first group of campers in like 20 minutes with like the bag on his head. And I remember thinking like, yo, this is fucking dope. They're going like off the rails already in this movie. I think the first like 20 some minutes are probably why it's my favorite. And then like after that, there's the second group of people. And then the second group, that's like where he gets his hockey mask in the reboot. But yeah, in Part 3, that's like where he gets his hockey mask and like the whole like series. And I mean, the kills are also kind of goofy because I think it was originally supposed to be in like 3D, so like a lot of shit is like shit popping out at the camera, and I mean overall I enjoyed it. I mean I saw it before, so I was just watching it again, but I enjoyed it. As far as new movies go, I did see this was over a month ago, but just because I think it wasn't out when we did our last movie episode. The only really new movie that came out that I think I saw recently was Hubie Halloween, starring Adam Sandler. And, I mean, it was alright. It's definitely not my favorite movie he did by any stretch of the means, but it was also far from the worst. At least if you enjoy Adam Sandler, because I know critics, I think, probably said it was awful, just like all of his comedies.
Yeah, well, comedies are usually rated pretty poorly, generally speaking.
Yeah, which I've made peace with. But, like, yeah, I mean, it's alright. I definitely call it mid-tier. Because the last movie he did on Netflix, The Murder Mystery, I actually really, really liked. Because that was, like, right up my alley. It was, like, almost like an action comedy. And then on top of it, there's also the, murder mystery part, which I enjoy murder mysteries, and that's part of why I like Scream so much, is because each movie has the whole mystery aspect. But yeah, so murder mystery, that's like exactly what it says on the cover. It's a murder mystery. And I really like that one. And then Hubie Halloween was kind of like the same thing, but like with a Halloween setting, like it takes place in Salem. And people are going missing, and he's got to like find out who did it. So I mean, it was alright.
So what would you say? Like a 7 out of 10?
I'd probably put it lower, and I'd probably put like 5.5 or like a 6 out of 10.
So mediocrity, right in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it mediocre, but it's definitely mid tier for me, 100%. With the low tiers being like the like the Jack and Jills and the what's another one I dislike? And like I guess like the Spanglishes. Because spoiler alert, I didn't really like Spanglish all that much. I don't know. I think a lot of people did like that because it was one of his more like artsy type movies. I didn't really like it all that much. Yeah, so that would be like the low tiers. Then my high tiers would be my top 3 Adam Sandler movies are That's My Boy, Little Nicky, and then number 3 changes depending on my mood, but number 3 is always going to be one of the following. Either The Wedding Singer, The Longest Yard, or Mr. Deeds. It changes depending on my mood, but it's always going to be one of those 3.
Fair enough.
That's really the only new movie I think I've seen recently. I think the last movie I saw in the movies for sure was, I think, actually the Sonic movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking to myself, what are the last 3 movies I saw in the theater before this? And I remember, I think it was Sonic, Uncut Gems, and before that was probably, I think, Hustlers, I think it was.
Yeah, I think the last 3 movies I saw in the movies were Sonic, Uncut Gems, and then Uncut Gems again, because I saw it twice. But if we're counting 3 different movies, I want to say it was Sonic, Uncut Gems, and then probably Star Wars. I haven't seen a whole lot of movies this year. And normally, I don't really go to the movies all that much in general. I usually go maybe like, on average, once every 6 months. Because usually there's just not a whole lot out I want to see. Because as you guys have probably guessed, I enjoy comedies. And comedies nowadays are more going on like Netflix originals than showing up in the movies. So there's just not really a whole lot I like to see. But there was actually a lot of stuff that came out last year that I want to see. I think I counted, and I think I saw like 7 movies last year. Maybe 8. I gotta go through. I know I saw Endgame. I think that might have been the first movie I saw last year was Endgame. Maybe I saw something before that, but I don't remember. And then I know I saw Detective Pikachu. And then I saw what else did I see? I know we saw Terminator. And then we saw Jay and Silent Bob. And then we saw Star Wars and Uncut Gems. And I feel like there's one more that I just can't remember right now.
Oh yeah, I forgot we saw Star Wars. The Terminator.
Yeah, and just that one was just kind of eh.
I shoved that back in my subconscious about that one.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily hate it, but I don't really
I hate it.
like it either.
Well, I dislike it quite a bit.
It's definitely my least favorite. That's for sure.
Well, they say that plans for by the way, just speaking of Dark Fate, for I guess news wise, that since they missed the break even point, they canceled all plans for future films.
I would say that's depressing, but if that means we don't get a sequel to Dark Fate, cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because
my honest to God, what I think they're gonna do, and it's kind of depressing, but that's just how Hollywood is. I think since Arnold's getting up there in age, I think the next Terminator movie they do, which probably won't be for a couple years, just because of how Dark Fate flopped. But I think the next Terminator movie they're gonna do is just gonna be a full either remake or reboot. Like no Arnold, just full remake of the first movie or a reboot.
yeah, or maybe combine the first two somehow together into a compact thing. That's how they also like to do that too.
Yeah, which would kind of suck because I feel like Arnold is part of what makes Terminator. Like the only one that didn't have Minute was Salvation, but that has Christian Bale, so it kind of makes up for it. But like, yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that because that man is the Terminator.
I mean, I'll give it a chance just because I'm a fan of the first two. Actually, I think the second one is probably, in my opinion, the best action movie ever made. But I'm just a fan of the thing, you know what I mean? I mean, if they ever do make a reboot, I'll probably go see it just because that's just what I do. But I probably won't like it. Just to let people know out there, I'll watch it, but I'm not saying I'm going to enjoy
I'll
it.
watch it, but I ain't liking it. Damn it.
Exactly. They gotta let them know I'm doing it. I'm doing this for educational purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the break even point for that movie was 480 million dollars, and they only grossed 261. So they were
Yeah, because I remember reading, like, they made their budget back, but you got to make more than just your budget to break even, because I think, like all the advertising and shit doesn't get included in the budget. So, like, they say the rule of thumb is to double the budget of the movie, and that's how much money the movie has to make a profit.
Yeah, and you gotta pay the people in the movie.
Well, I think that's just included in the budget.
Fair enough.
But I do think you do have to pay like the theaters to run your movie. Like that's not included in the budget. Obviously all the advertising that's not in the budget. But yeah, they say the rule of thumb is to double the budget of the movie, and that's how much money a movie needs to make a profit for the studio. But I mean, yeah, it makes sense because we saw it opening night, and this was pre-lockdown opening night for a big franchise, and we were the only two in the movie. I think it was us and like
other group of people.
Yeah, like one other person, or like a group.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 people together, including us. But yeah, so that was a Friday night.
Yeah. And I think it was like that when we saw Uncut Gems as well. But to Uncut Gems' credit, that was like more of like a smaller, like basically an indie movie.
It was Christmas night, so.
And it was Christmas night, and I don't really think they advertised it a whole lot outside of like Adam Sandler's Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't even know about it until you brought it up, so.
Exactly. I only knew about it because, like, I look shit up. So, like, I was just looking up Adam Sandler one night. I saw he was working on the movie, and I was like, oh, this isn't a comedy. This is probably going to be interesting. It's like a crime drama. This is going to probably be very interesting. But yeah, no, if it weren't for that, if it weren't for just me being an Adam Sandler fan, I probably wouldn't known about it. At the very least, probably not until it went on Netflix.
So is there any like upcoming movies that you want to watch, or just movies you just want to see in general that you haven't gotten around to seeing?
Yeah, one thing I definitely want to see, it's this Ryan Reynolds movie. that was supposed to come out in July, but they pushed it back to, I want to say December now, because of lockdown. And it's called Free Guy. It's, I want to say, an action comedy where he's like, I think he's in a video game, but I think he's a background character. He's not like a player character, so like it's like all these people just going around causing mischief in the movie, and like for him that's just like another Monday. I think it's actually got a few like actual streamers, like I think like Pokemon's in there, Ninja's in there, and there's like a few people in there, and it just looks really cool. Like that interests me. I definitely also want to see the new James Bond when that comes out, because for those that don't know me, I love me some James Bond. In particular, I like the Daniel Craig movies, but I just like the whole series. Casino Royale, Skyfall, they're probably my two favorite James Bond movies. But I enjoy, like I said, the whole Daniel Craig era, because even my least favorite, which would probably be Quantum of Solace, is still a great fucking movie. I like the kind of like grittier, actionier approach that he took to his movies over the kind of like goofy, like spy movies that like, you know, like all the other ones had. Especially like, dude, like the Pierce Brosnan movies. Like I remember Die Another Day was like almost a comedy. Which, you know, I enjoy comedies too, so yeah, I like to laugh. So like that was cool too, but yeah, I think like the Daniel Craig movies just have probably like they're my four favorite without a doubt. And I think this one that's coming up, I pretty sure I remember reading it's going to be his last Bond movie. That I think he's going to be like retiring. I don't know if he's retiring as an actor, but I think he's retiring as James Bond because he is like, I think like in his 50s now. I'm gonna actually be kind of sad watching that one, just knowing it's his last one. But it looks pretty cool. I'm excited for it. Spectre was pretty good. Skyfall was fucking amazing. So I'm like ready for this. This is another one that I think got pushed back because of lockdown. Like it was supposed to come out in April of this year, and then they pushed it back to November. And then when they realized, yo, lockdown ain't over yet, they pushed it back again to April of next year. So I will be definitely seeing that when that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would enjoy just to kind of get more, I guess, in touch with the James Bond lore because I really only ever seen Casino Royale, to be honest with you.
Casino Royale is a hell of a movie. You picked a good one.
I was like 11, so I don't really have much memory of it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's weird because I saw Casino Royale for the first time in like 2008. So I was like 13, maybe even 12, because I don't know if it was my birthday yet. So like I really didn't understand it too much other than, oh, he's playing poker. But I remember liking it. So like now it's got that like weird nostalgic attachment because I watched it when like I didn't even really know what the fuck was going on. But I fucking love it. And then yeah, Casino Royale is a hell of a movie. Quantum of Solace was pretty good too. Like I said, it's just saying it's my least favorite Daniel Craig movie is like saying my least favorite Better Luck Next Time song. I really don't have many bad things to say about the movie. It's just not as good as the others. It's still a really good action movie. And it actually, like the final act is really fucking good. It just probably had like my least favorite villain of the Bond movies, or at least the Daniel Craig movies. I don't know about the whole series. Had probably my least favorite villain of the Daniel Craig movies, and it was kind of short, at least for James Bond. And yeah, it was just not as good as the others, but still a really good movie. And then Skyfall was just holy shit. Skyfall was amazing. The whole finale to that movie was just like, I remember when I was in the movies thinking like, I don't really see why people are saying this is the best one, but like it is good. But then like the whole like third act happened, and I was like, yo, okay, I completely understand. There's another one where like My favorite James Bond movie, it really depends on my mood because it's either Casino Royale or Skyfall. I lean towards Casino Royale, but it's just another one where it just kind of depends on my mood.
And just speaking of Daniel Craig, I'm looking up his filmography. I liked how he was an uncredited cameo in Star Wars: The Force Awakens as Stormtrooper FN 1824.
I love it. I love those little those like little just like those little roles, like like Citizen Number 3.
Oh, I know. And I love when it's like a big name, I guess, who just really just wants to be in like a I guess their dream was always to be in a Star Wars movie. So he's like, I'll be a Stormtrooper. I don't care. You don't have to pay me.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm pretty sure Kevin Smith is in The Force Awakens just because they were looking for celebrity cameos, and he was like, "Yeah, I love Star Wars. Put me in. Put me in, Coach."
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys I guess that just really just want to do it, so they just be like, you don't have to pay me at all.
Yeah, I know. Like, I remember, I think it was Tommy Boy, like Rob Lowe, who is like, one of the main characters of the movie, is like uncredited, which is really weird. I think that means like they don't, like if you get uncredited, you probably didn't get paid for it.
That's just my guess.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like if you're uncredited, it usually means you didn't get paid for it.
Yeah, I'm saying that makes sense, yeah.
Which, it's like fine and all, but like, he's one of the main characters of the movie. So it's just very confusing.
Yes, Kevin Smith did Stormtrooper, parentheses, voice.
Very nice.
And in in the Rise of Skywalker, he was simply Commander.
What, Kevin Smith was?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I wasn't sure if you meant Daniel Craig or not.
Oh, no, yeah, Kevin Smith was Stormtrooper voice and Commander.
Yeah, one Daniel Craig movie I actually do want to see, because I didn't know he was in it until like a week or so ago. But I want to see the fucking Tomb Raider movie, because he's apparently in it. And I enjoyed Tomb Raider games, so I'd be interested in checking it out. If nothing else, just for Daniel Craig, because I like Daniel Craig.
It's Alex West.
Yeah. I don't really think I've seen much with him in it, aside from James Bond. But, I mean, he is my favorite James Bond, so I would be interested in seeing more movies just with him in it. But yeah, so I think that's all the movies I want to see that are coming now. Really, it's just, the Ryan Reynolds movie and James Bond. Is there any movies coming out you want to see?
No, I mean, there was maybe like one or two movies that I saw trailers for Tenet that looked interesting to me, but there was really nothing that really caught my eye. I mean, I guess the Mortal Kombat movie, I'll be down to see when that drops.
Yeah, I do. I completely forgot about that. I do want to see that, and I want to see Uncharted. I forgot about those because they're not like, I don't really think they're in the process of like trailers and shit yet, so I kind of just forgot they existed. But I do know that they're happening, and I also want to see Scream 5 when that drops. That's another one I want to see, because they're making a new Scream movie, and it doesn't have Wes Craven, obviously, because he has unfortunately passed away. But I fucks with Scream. It's like my favorite horror movie, so I'm interested in seeing Scream 5 when that drops. And then Mortal Kombat, Uncharted. I think Adam Sandler has a new movie coming out, but like it's not even like I think they're still filming it, so it probably won't be for a little bit. It's called like Hustle, that I want to see. It's already out. It's not a movie that's coming out, but I do still want to see that Will Ferrell movie, the movie where he's like the Swedish pop star or whatever. Forget the name of it right now. Eurovision. Yeah, it's called Eurovision. It's like him and Rachel McAdams, and they're like a Swedish, like, I don't remember if they're husband and wife or if they're a pop duo, but it's them. I think Pierce Brosnan is his fucking dad in the movie, and it just looks like classic Will Ferrell. So I do want to see that, but it's also 2 fucking hours long. I was gonna watch it when it came out, but then I saw it was like 2 fucking hours. Like, yo, I don't really feel like sitting here for 2 hours watching a movie. So I ended up not watching it, and I still haven't seen it yet. But I do want to see that.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I would like to see. I mean, yeah, I mean, the only real move that I'm trying to like purposely like go out of my way to see is a movie that came out 33 years ago with The Running Man. So there's really not much for me on that end. I usually just see a movie and I just think to myself, okay, I want to watch it. You know what I mean? There's really like a few years ago, like I was really into like movies where I was like excited. I was like counting down like the months to see a movie, but now it's just more like, oh, there's a movie that looks interesting. I'll go see it. You know what I mean? If it's on Netflix or something, I'll go watch it. But yeah, there's really not much on my end.
Yeah, I go on kicks with that. There'll be like times where I go on a real movie kick where I'll watch a movie like every single night. And then I just won't be in the mood for like a movie for probably like a year.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to see The Running Man. That's the most interesting one for me. But other than that, though, there's really not much on my end that I
Yeah,
want.
I do want to watch because I have had I have had James Bond on my mind for a little bit with the unfortunate passing of Sean Connery. May he rest in peace. But since like they've been back in my head, I have wanted to see Casino Royale again.
But
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have anything else you want to say,
nope, I'm good.
all right, then yeah, then I guess that kind of concludes today's movie talk. So thank you everybody who hung out. We will be back next week every Tuesday at noon. As you know, we don't really stream anymore. We just kind of do it on YouTube just because it's easier on our end because with our schedules, it's kind of hard to sit down same time every week for an hour to an hour and a half to sometimes we've even gone up to 2 hours. So it's just easier to just record and then put it on YouTube because then we can just kind of do it whenever we have the time to. Like we did this one at like 1 p.m. Last week we did it like in the morning. So like both on Saturday, but the week before we did it on a fucking Monday because that was like when we were both available. So we have been just mostly just recording now. So we haven't been doing it on Twitch, but be sure to sub to that YouTube channel. You can catch new episodes every single Tuesday at noon. And we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.
Peace.